The network news studio was busy. It was exactly 6 o'clock in the evening. The director gave the signal to go live. The camera zoomed in on the anchor. He began to speak to the audience. He welcomed them to the Saturday evening news. 2 rows of interns stood in the control room. Their work badges hung from their necks. They stayed out of the way in the back. It was the network's annual open house. The news division was the most popular choice. Most eyes fell on Ethan Cole. He sat behind the glass wall. Serving as the evening anchor required skill. Ethan was considered the best of the best. Colleagues saw him as a top professional. He had a strong presence and great ability. He signed with the network right after graduation. The news channel expanded within his first year. He and his partner became the third anchor team. The opening monologue concluded. The director switched to a video segment. A strange noise echoed in the control room. Whispers spread among the interns. They wondered what the problem was. It seemed the teleprompter had failed. An assistant relayed the message to the director. The tech department reported a wiring issue. They estimated a 10-minute repair time. The interns began talking quietly. This was a bad time for an equipment failure. A major political speech was next. Ethan was scheduled to report the entire segment. It was a very long and dense text. Some wondered if he would just read it. Others thought his co-anchor might help. One in turn recalled Ethan's excellent memory. He might have already familiarized himself with it. Another pointed out the speech ended minutes ago. There was no time to prepare. They were told to be quiet and watch. The director spoke into his headset. He informed Ethan about the 10-minute delay. The video segment had 76 seconds left. All eyes turned to the glass wall. Ethan remained perfectly composed. He tapped his earpiece in acknowledgement. His focus returned to the paper script. A voice in his ear gave a 15-second. Ethan straightened his manuscript. He looked directly into the camera. His hands rested naturally on the desk. He started to report on the new national policy. His voice was clear and steady. The interns followed along with their copies. They watched him turn 1 page, then 2, then 3. Nearly 10 minutes of broadcasting passed. He delivered over 1,000 words without a prompter. His expression never changed. He did not make a single mistake. The interns stared in complete awe. The director was not surprised at all. He casually twirled his headset cord. The network's star anchor had earned his reputation. His shift ended. Ethan changed out of his suit. He put on a soft knit sweater. The head of the tech department, David, stopped him. He apologized for the trouble during the broadcast. A new technician had missed something during inspection. It was their oversight. Ethan assured him it was not a major issue. He told David not to worry about it. But this was the evening news. It was a crucial broadcast. A failure could have serious consequences. David's job might have been at risk. David felt indebted. He offered to take Ethan for a meal. A new gastropub had opened downtown. Ethan politely declined for another time. He held up his phone. He explained that his mother was calling. She wanted him home early. They said their goodbyes. Ethan went down in the elevator. A call from his mother came through as expected. She asked if he was coming home for dinner. Ethan walked toward the parking garage. He told her he had plans with a colleague. His mother warned him about restaurant food. She said it was too greasy. He should eat out less often. He promised that he would. She did not believe him. She complained he always made excuses. He said he was too busy to come home. His parents had moved to a new house. The round trip took 2 hours. His mother regretted the decision. They had listened to his father. The house was too far from his work. Now he barely visited them at all. She continued her usual complaints. Then she asked about his aunt's request. His cousin was getting married after the new year. His aunt wanted Ethan to be the wedding videographer. He confirmed he would have time. His mother paused for a few seconds. She brought up his younger brother's engagement. She asked if he understood her meaning. Ethan knew exactly what she meant. She told him not to be annoyed. He was almost 30. She and his father just wanted him to have a partner. They could be at peace knowing he was not alone. Ethan had heard this speech hundreds of times. He told his mother that he understood. She then asked if his boyfriend was real. Ethan rubbed his temples. He insisted that he was. His mother expressed her doubts. He never brought the man home to meet them. He never even shared basic details. Ethan had to improvise again. He explained that his boyfriend was older. He was good-looking and had a good job. They were still in a trial period. He wanted to wait until things were stable. His mother reminded him of his last relationship. That one had also been a trial period. It wasted 3 years of his life. If he had brought the doctor home sooner, they might be married. Ethan had no response. He was learning a difficult lesson. One lie required countless others to maintain. 3 years ago, he had just started his anchor job. The work was demanding and stressful. His parents were eager to set him up on dates. He had no time or energy for romance. He invented a boyfriend doing postdoctoral research in Europe. When his parents asked to meet him, Ethan used excuses. The boyfriend could not return to the States. 3 years later, the fictional boyfriend had to graduate. His recently retired mother began pushing for marriage. Ethan had to end the fake relationship. He claimed the man decided to stay in Europe permanently. They had a peaceful breakup. To reassure his parents, he lied again. 3 months ago, he claimed to have a new partner. Before hanging up, he made a bold promise. He would bring this new boyfriend home soon. The problem was where to find one. Ethan leaned back in his driver's seat. A 1,000-word news script did not scare him. Finding a boyfriend was a much harder task. He put in his earbuds and started the car. As he neared home, a voice alert sounded. His phone assistant reminded him of a live stream. He had a 10 o'clock broadcast he could not forget. His phone had updated its system last night. The built-in assistant's voice was different now. It introduced itself as his personal helper. It offered assistance with any problem. Ethan braked suddenly. He decided to try something. He asked what to do when parents rush you into marriage. The assistant found 36 dating services nearby. 4 of them were within a 2-mile radius. Ethan parked his car at the entrance of his complex. He asked which one was the closest. The assistant located the nearest service. It was only 100 feet away. It asked if he needed navigation. 100 feet. Ethan looked at his phone's map. A red light blinked across from his building. A large neon sign read Destiny Connect. He had lived here for a year. He had never noticed it before. At 8 o'clock, the glass doors were crowded. It looked like a supermarket during a clearance sale. So many people were trying to find a match. The agency was bustling with activity. The street outside was just as chaotic. Ethan's hand hovered over the seatbelt buckle. He could not bring himself to get out. Back home, Ethan took a shower. He wore a light-colored t-shirt. Water dripped from the ends of his hair. He picked a random article on his phone. He activated the text-to-speech function. A deep voice began reading from his headphones. It was an AI voice he had configured himself. The synthetic tone was monotonous. It lacked real emotion, but it was tolerable enough to listen to. Ethan tore open a package of instant rice. He placed it in the microwave. The male voice from his headphones continued to read. The rice in his mouth was hard and salty. He ate 3 oranges instead. He threw the peels and the empty container away. At 10 o'clock, Ethan went live. He was a news anchor for the network by day, but he had another identity online. He was a voice actor known as Tempest. He occasionally took on audiobook projects. He also streamed on a gaming platform in his free time. In his younger years, he had voiced many popular dramas. He had accumulated a large number of fans. In the online world, the name Tempest was famous. Behind a screen, he could be his true self. As long as he did not show his face and did not use his news anchor voice, no one could connect the two identities. His stream had a regular segment. He would choose 3 viewers. They provided text for him to read aloud. The first viewer submitted a graduate school exam passage. Ethan read it in a standard broadcasting voice. The second provided a diary entry about a crush. Felt very personal and sincere. For the third submission, Ethan scrolled his mouse. He leaned closer to the microphone. He told the viewer this one was not appropriate. The chat exploded with requests. They begged him to say the words again. They wanted him to call them baby. His voice made their ears tingle. Ethan explained the content was too explicit. The stream would get banned. All the ellipses and special characters were too much. His voice would get hoarse. This only made them want to hear it more. He asked the user to submit something cleaner. His fans complained he was becoming too tame. They wanted some adult fun. The world needed passion and release. Ethan decided to change the subject. He asked his audience a serious question. He wanted to know how they found their partners. He confessed his parents were pressuring him. Without a boyfriend soon, he might not survive the holidays. He had never hidden his orientation from his fans. They all knew he liked men. He rested his chin on his hand. He asked for serious and reliable suggestions. He was in a hurry. One fan suggested a dating website. She said she met her husband there. They had been married for 3 years. It was a national chain with local offices. She swore it was not an ad. The premium membership was not cheap, but the service was reliable. They did not try to sell extra courses. The staff was professional and honest. Most importantly, they did not fake client information. She recommended he give it a try. Ethan thanked her for the suggestion. He announced the end of his stream. It was late and they should all get some sleep. His voice was like a sweet, bubbling soda. He wished his darlings a good night. They wished him sweet dreams in return. Ethan closed the stream and clicked the link. Destiny Connect. Your personal romance concierge. It seemed like fate. Applying online had its advantages. At least he did not have to face people. Ethan registered his personal information. A message popped up on the screen. It welcomed him to the premium membership. The site promised not to provide false information. It would not charge extra fees. If a match was not found in 3 years, he would get a full refund. He could not wait 3 years. He did not want to wait 3 days. At 11:30, the Destiny Connect office closed. An employee sent the last customers away. She rubbed her neck and returned to her desk. She complained about their manager. The new promotion was just creating more work. The month's sales target was still unreachable. Her bonus was likely gone. In recent years, young people's interest in marriage had declined. The matchmaking business was struggling. The branch manager had launched a $1 event. The company promised at least 10 meetings in 6 months. If unsuccessful, there would be no further charges. A successful match would cost only a small finder's fee. The news brought a flood of new customers. Hundreds of singles registered that day. But the office had made very little money. That did not even count the free snacks and water. It was all work and no pay. Some of the clients were also unbelievable. The employee, Mia, ruffled her hair. She sorted through the application forms. One man claimed to be 5'7". She had seen him in person. He was 5'3" at best. He wanted a woman who was at least 5'5". His reason was to not affect his future children. He had some nerve. Her colleague said that was nothing. She pointed to another profile. A man with a low salary, no property, and loans. He wanted a local woman, an only child who could cook. She must love housework. Her parents must be healthy with good insurance. Mia turned to the next page. He also specified a preference for corporate executives or women in stable government jobs. She scoffed at his daydreaming. Her coworker, Bella, stretched. She told Mia to deal with the delusional men. Her bonus for the month was already gone. She was leaving for the night. A notification popped up on the screen. It was a new work email. She groaned about being bothered after hours. She reluctantly opened it. After 6 months here, she had lost all interest in men. Mia's eyes widened like light bulbs. She tapped her colleague on the shoulder. She asked for the name of that news anchor. The one Bella thought was so handsome. Bella recalled his name was Ethan Cole. She asked why Mia was asking. Mia pointed at her screen. He just signed up for their service. Bella thought it was impossible. She turned to look at the screen. The name on the profile was familiar. She quickly looked at the profile picture. A name could be a coincidence, but the photo did not lie. It was him in a suit and tie. His sharp features were the same as on TV. It was really him, and he paid the $68,000 fee. Mia screamed with joy. Her bonus for the month was saved. The noise attracted other colleagues. 5 or 6 people huddled around the screen. They stared at Ethan Cole's profile. Age 29, master's degree, news anchor. No marriage history, no relationship experience. Owned a 2-bedroom condo and a car. No loans, had savings. His relationship requirements were simple. He sought a single man. He wanted someone emotionally stable and mature. The man should have a steady job and no bad habits. He must accept the nature of Ethan's work. No holidays off and occasional overtime. He wished to build a life together. The profile had one other request. He was in a hurry. He hoped for a meeting as soon as possible. A nice voice would be a bonus. These requirements were practically no requirements at all. They wondered what a nice voice meant. Perhaps it was a preference for someone in broadcasting. The staff was suddenly energized. They searched their database for high-quality men. One offered a pilot she managed, but he had been divorced 5 times. Another suggested a computer engineer, but he was balding at 30. A lawyer was also proposed, but he looked like a player. They desperately searched for a good man. In a quiet residential area, a study was dark. Only the computer screen cast a pale glow. A man listened to a young man's voice through headphones. The voice was panting, asking to be held closer. The man's chest rose and fell with the sound. He nearly crushed the mouse in his hand. He finally clicked the link from the live stream. He began to fill out the information. Name, Miles Vance. Age, 33. Education, doctorate. Profession, integrative medicine. Relationship history, none. Financial situation, high 6-figure salary, owns a home, no debt. Relationship requirements, a man who works in news broadcasting. Other requirements, meet as soon as possible. The $68,000 fee was substantial, but the money seemed well spent. The agency was highly efficient. Ethan received a call the next morning. His matchmaker had already arranged a meeting. The date was set for that evening. Ethan had the day off. He slept until 10. A call from his friend Chloe woke him up. She announced a new group of interns had arrived. She asked him to come to the station. He needed to give them a welcome speech. She reminded him many of them were his fans. A few words from him would motivate them for weeks. Chloe was a friend from college. She was a vibrant and confident woman. She was also his best friend. They both started at the network after graduation. Chloe was a director for the Lifestyle Channel. Ethan was an anchor for the main news channel. Ethan held the phone with his shoulder. He took a sandwich from the refrigerator. He unwrapped it and took a bite. He told her he could not make it today. She asked if his mother had summoned him home. He said no. He then took out 4 oranges. He had a blind date. Chloe was surprised. She asked if he had finally given in to the pressure. Ethan put the cut oranges into a juicer. He asked who had set him up. He told her it was a dating website. She questioned its reliability. She had heard those agencies could be shady. He admitted he did not know. But he had paid a $68,000 fee. Chloe screamed into the phone. She asked if he had lost his mind. In retrospect, Ethan admitted it was impulsive. But it was too late to change his mind. Chloe suggested the station chief was a better option. Ethan sipped his orange juice. He told her not to mention him. Everyone at the station saw the chief's interest in him. The man had even gotten a divorce. But Ethan preferred a blind date. He said the divorce was the chief's own business. It had nothing to do with him. Chloe knew he did not care about relationship history. She guessed it was not about his voice either. Ethan admitted he had a preference for certain voices. But he simply had no feelings for the chief. He also disliked office romances, especially when the other person was his boss. Chloe changed the subject back to the date. She asked about the man's qualifications. He was a doctor with a Ph.D. from overseas. The matchmaker said he was a respected expert, a doctor with a foreign degree. Chloe found it increasingly strange. She asked how old he was. Ethan had not asked for specifics. He was still half asleep during the call. He was sure the man was not younger than him. He had specifically requested someone mature. Chloe pointed out the issue was not being younger. The problem was that he might be much older. Ethan thought that would be fine. He could not handle someone too young. He had been in the voice acting world for 10 years. It was full of energetic but clingy young people. He was too busy for a high-maintenance relationship. He wanted someone mature and independent, someone who would give him space. He hoped for mutual understanding. He had not considered his date could be decades older. He hoped that was not the case. He remembered the man's profession. It was integrative medicine. Chloe asked if he was sure. Was he a doctor or an old doctor? She explained that a respected Ph.D. in that field would not be young. It took decades to build that kind of reputation. He could be old enough to be his grandfather. That would certainly shock his mother. Ethan decided to see for himself. The man might not even be interested in him. He thought maturity was a good thing. If it did not work out, they could part ways easily. Chloe wished him luck. She hoped he would meet a handsome man with a deep voice. She knew him too well. A handsome man in a dark suit and glasses. Ethan said as long as he was not older than his father. The meeting was set for 7:30. Ethan chose the location himself. Meeting at a coffee shop at that hour was intentional. He would eat dinner before going. If they did not click, he would not have to waste time on a meal. He did not believe in love at first sight, but he also did not want to pursue someone he felt no connection with. He changed into a clean shirt. It had rained earlier, so he wore a light gray jacket. The coffee shop was next to his apartment complex. He arrived 20 minutes early. A waiter led him to a window table. The cafe was not busy at this time. A couple was sitting on a corner sofa. Ethan said he was waiting for someone. He only ordered 2 glasses of water. A text message came in from Chloe. She asked if he had arrived. He confirmed that he had. She commented that his date was not there yet. She joked that old doctors were very patient. He replied that he had simply arrived early. Chloe said she was heading to her meeting with the interns. They would talk later. She promised to pray for a handsome man for him. The man would have a deep voice and wear a dark suit and silver-rimmed glasses. He thanked her for the good wishes. He did not dare to hope for such a miracle. The odds were lower than winning the lottery. At the hospital, it was 6 o'clock. Miles Vance removed his disposable gloves. He went to wash his hands. He was changing his clothes when someone knocked. A junior doctor asked if he was busy. A relative of his had a leg problem. They had just gotten x-rays upstairs. He wanted Miles to take a look. Miles glanced at his watch. He apologized and said another day would be better. The junior doctor said it was not urgent. He noticed Miles's carefully styled hair. He also saw the suit jacket in his hand. He asked if Miles had a date. Miles put on his suit jacket. He calmly replied that he was going on a blind date. The junior doctor's eyes widened. He wished him success and left. Then he returned for a second look. He told Miles he looked especially sharp tonight. The footsteps faded away. Miles looked at himself in the mirror. He put on a pair of glasses. He closed the locker room door. His department was on the 4th floor. He rarely took the elevator. He needed to go down 4 floors, then walk through the 1st floor corridor. The hospital lobby was bustling. Patients were picking up reports. Doctors and nurses hurried back and forth. The sound of shoes echoed on the marble floor. The suit felt restrictive. His shoulders and back tensed up. He rarely greeted people. He did not care about the stares around him. Miles did not usually use public transport. He preferred to jog or walk to work. The meeting place was a 30-minute run. There was still an hour until the appointed time. To be safe, Miles called a car. Unfortunately, his luck was bad that day. A multi-car pileup had caused a major traffic jam. The police were checking each vehicle. Miles sat in the passenger seat. He looked at his watch. He asked the driver for an estimated time. The driver was in a bad mood. He had no idea how long it would take. He complained about his bad luck. Picking up this fare had wasted so much time. Miles asked how much he owed. The driver turned to him. Miles said he was getting out. The driver held the seatbelt buckle. He refused to let him go. He complained about the wasted gas money. The sun set on the horizon. The crowded street was shrouded in darkness. Through the window, a running figure grew smaller. The driver happily counted the cash. The fare was well worth it. Ethan did not expect his date to be so calm. At 7:27, the matchmaker called. She apologized for the delay. Dr. Vance had contacted her. He was stuck in traffic but would arrive soon. She asked him to wait a little longer. He said it was no problem. Accidents happen. Ethan could understand. But being late for a first meeting was not a good impression. The matchmaker probably thought so too. She apologized again. She offered to arrange other meetings for him. She had corporate executives and university professors. Ethan did not want to waste more time on this. He asked her to check their availability for the next day. He wanted to schedule 3 meetings. Just then, the glass door opened. A gust of damp air rang the wind chimes. The scent of herbs filled the air. Ethan subconsciously looked up. A man's figure and scent entered together. He wore a crisp white shirt and a dark suit. He was very tall. His breathing was a bit heavy. He seemed to have rushed over. His features were sharp and his expression was neutral. This made him look very composed. And Ethan's eyebrows twitched slightly. He wore a pair of glasses on his nose. They had thin gold frames. The man waited for him to hang up. Then he sat down across from him. He was polite and gentlemanly. He introduced himself as Miles Vance. Ethan's heart felt like a rubber band. It was stretched taut. This Dr. Vance was not only handsome. His voice was also incredibly captivating. It was a very deep baritone. It had a natural resonance. It was perfect for narration or audio dramas. He could play a cool, dominant CEO. He was a true bass cannon. Miles apologized for being late. Ethan looked at his watch. The second hand had just passed 12. He said that Dr. Vance was perfectly on time. He then introduced himself. He was Ethan Cole, 29 years old. He worked at the city's main news channel. Miles said that he knew who he was. He had a habit of watching the news. Ethan felt a bit embarrassed. He had forgotten about that. Miles pushed his glasses up with his middle finger. He asked why Ethan was nervous. Was this his first blind date? Ethan's gaze fell on the man's hands. His fingers were long. The joints and veins were prominent. He admitted it was his first time too. A waiter brought the menu. It eased some of the awkwardness. Ethan ordered an iced Americano. Miles studied the menu for a long time. He ordered waffles and a fruit bowl. He asked the waiter to replace the pear. He wanted apple instead. The waiter nodded. He then asked if Miles wanted an Americano. The second cup was half price. Miles declined. He handed the menu back to the waiter. Ethan guessed he would not order a drink. He had noticed Miles brought his own thermos. As expected of a holistic doctor, Miles was a man of few words. He seemed to prefer quiet. Ethan also liked that. When the dessert arrived, Miles passed him a fork. Ethan said thank you. He went to pick up a piece of fruit. He asked if Miles disliked pears. It was the first time he saw someone change fruit in an order. Miles's gaze fell on Ethan's lips. He said it was not that. He explained that Ethan was not suited to eat it today. Ethan tilted his head. Miles told him he had a cold constitution. Pears were too cooling for him. He glanced at the iced coffee. It was also not good for him. Being cared for by a new acquaintance felt warm. Ethan had heard that holistic doctors could read faces. Now he believed it. Miles hoped he had not offended him. Ethan said he was not offended at all. He thanked Miles for his thoughtfulness. He held the cold coffee cup. He asked if he should not drink this either. Miles said coffee was acidic and irritated the stomach. Ethan quietly pushed the coffee away. He drank warm water instead. He observed the man across from him. Not only was he well-dressed, his hair was also neat. The first impression was excellent. But Ethan noticed sweat on his forehead. His collar was also damp. He asked if Miles was hot. It had rained that morning. The weather was cool enough for a long-sleeved shirt. Miles loosened his tie. He said he ran over. He would be fine in a moment. Ethan was secretly puzzled. Running in a suit and dress shoes? Miles explained the traffic was terrible. He had left the car and ran. Ethan smiled. He asked if the driver let him go. Miles said he gave him $500. Ethan commented that the driver made a good profit. Miles admitted it was his oversight. He had not expected the accident. That section of road was always like that. He had been stuck there many times. Ethan said the cars were cramped and stuffy. If he was not driving, he would want to escape too. Small talk eased the atmosphere. Ethan looked at the man again. He reached for a napkin, but their hands brushed. It was said that doctors were often misophobes. The napkin on the table was folded beautifully. It had been touched by many people. Ethan took out his handkerchief. He asked if Miles wanted to use it. He had not used it himself. As soon as he said it, he regretted it. He was not sure if a handkerchief was considered clean. Miles did not hesitate. He took it and wiped his forehead. The sweat soaked through the gray and blue plaid cotton. It left a dark silhouette. Miles held the thin handkerchief. Ethan's awkwardness was belated. Offering such a personal item on a first meeting. It seemed to cross a line, but it was already done. Ethan said he had many handkerchiefs. He meant Miles could throw it away. He did not need to return it. Miles tightened his grip. He put the handkerchief in his suit pocket. He said thank you. The atmosphere returned to silence. Ethan thought he could handle it easily. But the pleasant voice had flustered him. His colleagues at the station did not have this effect. The AI could not give it either. Ethan took a sip of warm water. Miles opened his thermos. A strong herbal scent filled the air. Ethan found it surprisingly pleasant. He asked if all doctors prepared their own remedies. Miles closed the lid. He said it was a personal choice. Ethan did not know much about holistic medicine, but he knew their theories. Most people were in a subhealthy state. A visit to a practitioner would always result in a prescription. He pointed to the black mat lid. He asked what this one was for. Miles explained it calmed the mind and reduced internal heat. Ethan felt he was already very calm. Any calmer and he would freeze. Miles tried to look away from his lips. He said it was very necessary. Ethan smiled. He asked if he could also drink that medicine. Miles said he had a more suitable remedy. Ethan was intrigued by this diagnostic method. He did not need to ask questions or take a pulse. He admitted he was afraid of bitterness. He had disliked traditional medicine since he was a child. Miles said not all remedies were bitter. Ethan promised to make an appointment with him sometime. Miles said his appointments were hard to get. They could contact each other privately. He could see him anytime. Holistic conditioning took time. It required persistence. Ethan was just being polite. He did not expect the man to be so sincere. He knew it was a complicated process. He did not have the energy for it, but he still agreed to contact him. Ethan stirred his yogurt. He suddenly realized the fruit bowl was ordered by Miles. The man had not eaten a single bite. The bowl was already empty. He asked if Miles had eaten dinner. Miles said he had not. Ethan had already eaten. The additional fruit and waffles made him even fuller. He suggested they find a restaurant. Miles said it was not necessary. He would eat when he got home. No matter what, it was not right. Leaving someone who had not eaten in a coffee shop. Ethan suggested they call it a day. Miles could go home and eat sooner. Miles stood up. He said he was going to the restroom. Ethan called the waiter to pay the bill. He was told the other person had already paid. Miles had been in his sight the whole time. When did he pay? The waiter looked at Ethan's face. He could not help but ask. He wanted to know if Ethan was the news anchor. Ethan nodded. He confirmed that he was. The waiter smiled, showing his canine teeth. He said Ethan looked even more handsome in person. Ethan thanked him. The waiter saw he was friendly. His curiosity got the better of him. He asked if the man with him was his boyfriend. Ethan said no. They were just on a blind date. The waiter's heart pounded. He said the man was so handsome and tall. Ethan's smile was warm and gentle. He said he would pass on the compliment. The waiter blushed and bit his lip. He added that the man was very thoughtful. He had come in earlier to choose a table. He had also paid a deposit in advance. From the waiter, Ethan learned more. Miles had come to the coffee shop that morning. He had reserved the table with the best view. He had also left a $2,000 cash deposit. This was a regular coffee shop. The average spending was less than $100. The manager had told him it was too much. But the man insisted. He said he would pay the difference, just in case. And he paid in cash. In an age of mobile payments, few people carried cash. Ethan listened to the story. His expression did not change much, but his heart was certainly moved. Leaving the coffee shop, they both stopped at the door. Miles asked if Ethan was going home. Ethan pointed to the left. His apartment was in that complex. Miles offered to walk him home. The night air was cool and damp. It smelled of wet leaves. They did not talk much, but it was surprisingly comfortable. The 10-minute walk felt short. Ethan stopped at the entrance of his building. He said he was home. He offered to treat Miles next time. Miles's expression was calm like water. Through the lenses, Ethan saw his eyes. They were as deep as the sea. He looked down at his shoes. He fiddled with the end of his hair. He said he was going up. Miles stood still. He watched him in the night. He said goodbye. Ethan took out his phone. He asked if they should exchange numbers. It would be convenient to stay in touch. Miles apologized. He said he did not use social media. Ethan could hear his own awkward heartbeat. Felt like a rejection. Then he saw Miles swipe his screen open. He asked if they could exchange phone numbers first.